After witnessing the destructive force of natural disasters like Hurricane Irene, Attleboro is continuing to take steps to improve its emergency management system. Attleboro's emergency management officials met with the local emergency planning committee and the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency to discuss how local communities can become better prepared for natural disasters. We spoke with Attleboro Fire Chief Scott LaChance to find out what residents can do to stay safe in a time of crisis.
My name is Scott LaChance. I'm the Fire Chief for the City of Attleboro. I'm also the Emergency Management Director. We were here today as a collaborative effort with MEMA and the local emergency planning group to talk about preparedness. Specifically today was mostly about hurricanes, but it was also about all types of emergencies in general. And I'd like to take this opportunity just to talk about a few things that we can all do as citizens for emergencies that will help us be better prepared. The fire department, public safety departments have a certain amount of resources, and the best thing the community can do to help us help them is to do things to minimize the likelihood that they're going to need us. So when we see things like a hurricane coming, or as an example, or a tropical storm, and there's threats of maybe losing power for a few days, or those types of problems, the best thing the community can do is be prepared. And I know that MEMA had talked about that a little bit, and Doug Forbes had talked about that. But some of the things that we'd like to see people try to do: have a few days worth of food and water in the house. That's an important thing. Including food and water for your pets. Have a plan how you're going to function without electricity for 2 to 3 days. And if in the event that while the storm is in process, certainly nobody should be going outside. You shouldn't be doing things last minute. That's where we see most of our emergencies happen during the storm, is actually right before, as everybody's trying to prepare at the last minute. So the best thing you can do is have your plan already in place and be prepared to utilize it. One of the issues that we run into sometimes is people who are trying to do something they probably shouldn't do, and then they need our help, even though their intentions are good. I'll use an example with, say, a fire in the residence as an example. In the event of fire, really the best thing for people to do is to get out quickly, call 911, and meet at a meeting place. Should be probably in the front of the property, someplace that when the fire department shows up, my incident commander can go right there to a family member, an adult, and say, is there anybody in the house? That's our major concern for a fire. The building and the contents is secondary. The lives are the most important thing. If that person can tell us, all my family is out, now we put all of our efforts into putting the fire out. If that same person tells us, I'm not sure, or, 2 of the people are in the house, or I don't know if everybody's out, we have to change our tactics, and we have to now go in and look for people. And we don't put fire out when we're looking for people, because the problem we can run into is our tactics can actually push fire into different areas. So somebody could be off in a corner of a building safe. We come in there and start to put the fire out, we'll move it towards them. That's why we always look for people first. And sometimes people will see us at a fire scene and they look at it as if, we're not putting the fire out, what are we doing? That's the reason. We can't start to really make an effort to put that fire out until we know people are safe and accounted for. Children are always afraid, and one of the things that's important is to give them honest answers. You have to make sure that the answers that you give a child, or the instructions that you give them, that not only are they going to do it when you're practicing the plan, but you have to believe that they're going to do it when it's actually time to do the plan. An example that I like to use is pets. We would never want somebody to search around their house to look for a pet to take it outside in the event of a fire. But if we're not careful and we tell our children to never make an effort to take your pet, we run the risk of those kids now, when the smoke alarms go off, kind of panicking, and they start to run through the house and nobody knows where they are. So one of the things I always teach families to teach their kids is, if they have small pets, hamsters, guinea pigs, small puppies, cats and stuff, it's right next to them in their room and the alarms go off, it's really fine to pick that pet up and bring it outside, as long as it's part of their plan. That's how they practice it. So that's what families should do. Practice a fire drill and let the kids practice taking that pet with them outside.